Well, we need to steer the ship on. Now, the legal framework has been blamed for the perceived errors in judgments or discontentment in judgments, as we can see here, by the aggrieved party, especially the CPC, as the provisions of the law is severely undermined by the Evidence Act. But report from the grapevine. Now, we move over to Kogi State, North Central Nigeria, pardon me, and where an Abuja High Court has dismissed the application brought by Jibrin Issa, praying that the court to uphold the January governorship primary of the PDP, where he emerged as the standard bearer before the tenure of the state governor was elongated by a federal high court sitting in Abuja. In the judgment, presiding Judge Sunday Alade Toyinbo held that the court lacked the jurisdiction to entertain the suit instituted by Issa as the September 23 governorship primary of the party, for which he instituted the case took place in Lokoja and not Abuja. And looking at this now, bringing it out in a concise form, it looks like issues of territorial jurisdiction is what's at stake now. And the court therefore held that it did not have territorial jurisdiction to entertain the matter, and we'll be taking some actualities, sound bites now. And just to give some tidbits now, the case is between Jibrin Issa and Idris Wada.
Supporters of Mr. Issa Jibrin, a governorship candidate from Kogi State, walking out of an Abuja High Court looking downcast. The court, after a 2-hour ruling, struck out the suit filed by Mr. Jibrin, challenging the emergence of Captain Idris Wada as the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Kogi State. Although the suit was struck out due to lack of jurisdiction, the court added that Mr. Jibril had filed similar suit in Kogi State, which amounted to an abuse of court process. Lawyers to the People's Democratic Party and Captain Idris Wada expressed satisfaction with the verdict of the court, saying it is a well-researched judgment.
It was a very good and erudite judgment, erudite ruling, where the court determined and held that he didn't have jurisdiction to entertain this matter, based on the fact that the territory where the subject matter originated from is not within the FCTs in Kogi State. So the proper venue for them to ventilate whatever grievance they have against the defendants is in Kogi State.
The verdict, I will say, is expected because just like the court said, it did not have the territorial jurisdiction to try this matter.
The verdict of the court, however, did not go down well with the lawyer to Mr. Jibril, who says the judge missed the point when he failed to address their issue, which is the decision of the People's Democratic Party to conduct another primary election after his client had been declared the party's candidate in an earlier primary election.
The good thing is that the court was able to dispense justice speedily, but we still have our grievances with the judgment, because the point in contention was actually not properly before the court, because the issue here, we are not saying that his name, the name of the plaintiff, has been wrongly substituted. What we are saying here is that his mandate is being jeopardized.
Mr. Issa Jibrin had approached the court seeking an order to nullify the special congress of the People's Democratic Party held on the 22nd of September 2011 in Kogi State, on the ground that he is the party's candidate, having emerged winner in a January 2011 primary election.
Yeah, still on the Kogi State primaries within the PDP circle now. Looking at the internal democracy, where fortunately and unfortunately we had the tenure elongation of the sitting president, and that affected the primaries within the PDP. And that's the file that was dismissed by the Abuja High Court as lacking territorial jurisdiction, because the primaries was held in Lokoja and not in Abuja. And still dissecting this, you might have some comments.
Yeah, the issue was not decided on his merit. That's one thing you should know. the matter was not decided, because this was a man, according to him, that was chosen by PDP as a political party in January in preparation for 2011 election that took place in April. But there was this tenure elongation decision of the Federal High Court in Abuja, giving the sitting governor at that point in time an opportunity not to contest any election but to remain in power. Now the election of Kogi State is coming up very soon, and then they now conducted a new primary in which this man called Wada emerged as a PDP flag bearer. And then Issa himself now went to Abuja High Court to start this case, challenging the fact that he emerged as the winner in January. And so there shouldn't have been any other primary pending this particular election that is taking place. So the court now felt, look, before a court can assume jurisdiction on a matter, it must also look at the issue of, do I have jurisdiction?
Yeah, it looks a lot of intrigue cases moving around this.
There's no intrigue cases about it. It's all about territory.
The justice said, I want Comrade Yinka Odumakin to comment on this.
Okay.
Who said the petitioner did not join INEC in this suit, and this further weakened the case.
Well, really, I don't know what actually the issues are here really, because the question of intra-party contest, especially in the ruling party, before this report, we were just saying that the governorship ticket in Bayelsa State, they are waiting for Abuja to determine who the candidate will be. So
yeah, I'm deliberately saving the Bayelsa conundrum for the last.
So really, I don't. It's not an issue for me really.
So, Barrister Bani, it seems the box stops at your point.
Yes, what we're saying is that the court in Abuja said that, look, it lacked a territorial jurisdiction because actually the election itself, the primary, took place in Kogi. Of course, we have seen many decisions that have been held by several courts in the land that if there is no territorial jurisdiction, of course, a court cannot come and decide a matter that, of a matter that took place in another state. Remember when Ibori was being tried somewhere up north, and then the issue of jurisdiction came up, and it was he successfully challenged it, and that was why they had to set up an emergency federal high court in Asaba for the trial of offences that arose then by EFCs and all that. So issue of territory and territorial jurisdiction of the high court is very critical. So the court in Abuja is saying, look, this primary you are complaining about took place in Kogi. Why are you coming to Abuja? Go back to Kogi. And so it is based purely on technical issue. The merit has not actually been decided. But I also doubt whether any person could have even succeeded in the issue of the issue of challenging this issue that have taken place, because the primary that took place in January was with respect to election that's supposed to take place in April.
Okay, now let's also look at this. The judgment also has upheld the submission of Idris Wada's party that it's an abuse of court process.
Yeah. It's an allegation. Of course, one of the things when you want a court to dismiss a matter is that you allege there is an abuse of court process, that that the court should dismiss this matter for a lax merit. That is his argument, and the court upheld that argument. And look, the issue is that you are not supposed to come to Abuja because the primary never took place in Abuja. It's supposed to have been decided. It should have gone to a court somewhere in Kogi and not to Abuja. And then secondly, you did not even add INEC, who's supposed to be a party, and I cannot make an order in a vacuum.
Now, Barrister Bani, let's just consider the fact that the issue concerning the tenure elongation was decided in Abuja, and that now affected the situation in Kogi State.
That's right.
Primaries.
Yes, right.
So, isn't there a link?
Well, the point is that the matter that took place in Abuja in Federal High Court was between a party and INEC. Where is INEC headquarters? The issue of where a party is also very critical when you want to start an action.
So, do you think there is a need for a more effective coordination between INEC, the judiciary, and the party?
I don't see any argument as to issue of effective. There's effectiveness. If you want to sue INEC headquarters is in Abuja. Where do you start an action? It's a federal high court in Abuja. So I don't see any link whatsoever. But now we are talking about intra-party primary that took place in Kogi, and then you are now rushing not even to a federal high court in Kogi. You are now even in Abuja. You are rushing to a high court in Abuja. There are jurisdictions in all these things. And you're asking to a high court, not a federal high court in Abuja, but a high court, a state high court in Abuja, arguing over electoral matter, intra-party matter that took place in Kogi. And the court say, look, you shouldn't come to us. Go back to Kogi and probably have this matter decided. Secondly, you don't even join INEC as a party. Because if you had joined INEC, of course, they wouldn't have gone to a state high court. They would have even gone to a federal high court. So you didn't even join INEC, and that further weakened your case. And so they dismiss it based on technicality, it was not decided on merit. Let's put that in perspective.
So, gentlemen, we might have to put a hold on our discussion for now, but still on the election tribunal across the landmass of the nation, which was held throughout the week. And now we take a look at the volatile region of Plateau State, where the election tribunal also upheld the election of Governor Jonah Jang. And this is coming with a big question for the flashpoint, talking about the just crisis as regards the fragile peace in the region. Would Governor Jang toe the line of reconciliation by extending the olive branch to the opposition party, talking about his former deputy, Talin? Let's take a listen to the soundbites from this election tribunal.
And what has happened today is a confirmation of the verdict of the people of Plateau State. That's why I describe it as the end of the road, meaning that, well, they tried their luck at the polls. The people decided that they preferred Governor Jang and Long Jang as the governor and deputy. They came to court, and the court has affirmed the decision of the people of Plateau State.
We will study the judgment and take a very, very appropriate constitutional step to really do the rightful thing, the needful thing, and what we think is right for the electorate, for the state, and for the nation, and of course for mankind.